Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be looking at a Lost in the Pond video. This one is 7 phrases I only heard after moving to America. This is a fairly new video from Lawrence. One day, perhaps I'll pass him in the park and I'll be like, I know you. You don't know me, but that's okay. One day. I know he lives in Chicago, but I think he doesn't live close to me in Chicago. So, in any case, looking forward to him. I do want to give a quick shout out to a couple channel members. So thanks to Dragon Eye, thanks to Derek Pterodactylus. And yeah, so again, we appreciate the membership. We wouldn't be here without you. Memberships do allow us to react to lots and lots of different types of content. So I am very, very grateful to you. And I can't wait to get into this video. Also, just so you all know, we do have other channels as well. So we have Chicago Reacts and we have Chicanime. So Chicago Reacts, we watch a lot of like gaming stuff. There's some other things in there as well. I'm watching Dragon Ball Z abridged over there. Sometimes I got some Star Wars stuff, some like stuff about, so I got one or two things about Tolkien over there. I know I've watched one or two things of that nature here as well, but we watch other types of videos over there. And then we have the Chicanime channel, which is mostly anime. But we are potentially branching out to some other things as well. So just so you know, we've got other channels as well that you can check out if you want to see things different. So in any case, let's find out 7 phrases that he only learned after moving to America. And maybe somewhere out there, there's a video about 7 phrases I only heard after moving to the UK.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to sayings and phrases. And stay tuned because you can win a $10 gift card with today's sponsor, Upside. Over the last 157 years since I started this channel, I've talked about how Britain and America differ on some of the words that they use. But sometimes it's not just a singular word, but a collection of them. And today, I'm going to look at some American phrases that I only heard after moving to the United States. One such phrase is, I appreciate you, which my technical team says I should direct at my subscribers.
Yes.
And if you're not subscribed to my channel, do that now.
I'm subscribed, so haha. But that's interesting. I feel like I say that a lot. Not necessarily to more. I should probably say it more to my subscribers. So if you're watching this, I appreciate you. I should remind the people who only watch the music stuff that we do other things. Like, hey, I want to watch some of the other history videos or something. That'd be great. So if you're watching this, I definitely appreciate you.
Ow. In the meantime, here are 7 common phrases that I only heard after moving to America.
Oh, he was joking on that one. I'm an idiot. I'm so dumb. I thought that maybe like in the UK there might be like a different way of saying that. I was like, oh, okay, because there's been definitely things that I've heard him say that it's like, wait a minute, that's not that's not a common thing to say elsewhere, but it turns out they say something else that means the same thing. Just not with that not in that order necessarily. It's all right. If you're playing the drinking game at home, you drink whenever Lauren is an idiot. So this time I caught it.
America. One thing that you quickly learn after listening to Americans for 5 minutes is that they have about 100 words and sayings that were derived from sport. And one such phrase is Monday morning quarterback. And I must have heard that phrase about 100 times before I bothered to look it up in researching this video. Because when I first heard it, I couldn't really fathom what it meant. Like, in my head, I think I assumed that it described an NFL player that was late to training, or early. I don't know the usual training schedule of your average footballer, but Monday...
All right, pause. Put it in the comments if you're not American, or if you are, but you like, tell me what you think it means. I'll wait. And basically, I'll tell you what I think it means. Hindsight is 20/20. Monday morning after the Sunday game, you know exactly what you would have done better than the decisions they were making in the moment in the game. So it has expanded to mean more than just for football. It's now hindsight's 20/20. basically.
Morning suggests they were late because the sports people tend to sport most on the weekend. If you're a Monday morning quarterback, you miss the match and you turned up to training late. It's got nothing to do with any of that. This is just something that my own brain came up with. Instead, its definition is one that I don't think Britain really has an equivalent of, because a Monday morning quarterback is a person who passes judgment on and criticises something after the event. In other words, with the benefit of hindsight. I mean, in a sporting context, we have something similar, which is an armchair pundit, but I don't think that quite means the same thing, because an armchair pundit is somebody who might offer their critique of an event in real time as it's happening. Ooh, call yourself a professional tennis player, Novak Djokovic. I could do better than that, you prat. To be clear, Novak, that's not my opinion. That's just me mimicking somebody who is an armchair pundit.
Fair. Shoot the
Believe it or not,
breeze.
before I became a YouTube sensation, there was a time when I used to talk to people. And a colleague once asked me if I wanted to shoot the breeze over coffee. Now,
You know, I can kind of see where this one might come up with some confusion, especially if you've got an idea about Americans and the fact that Americans love their guns. I can see where there would be some confusion about this phrase. I also didn't realize that it was not said elsewhere. We don't say that. I've not heard it said in real conversation often, but I've heard
now, I'm from Britain, where 50% of all phrases are related to toilet humour. And forgive me, but as soon as I heard the word breeze,
I feel like the animations are new. Like, I feel like I've seen a bunch of his videos, but I haven't seen the little animations before.
I immediately thought of wind. And when I think of wind, I immediately think, you know what I think of. So, of course, I said yes, because deep down I am 5 years old. So I was very disappointed to discover once we got to the coffee house that shoot the breeze just means to chat idly. Mind you, in situations...
So he didn't even think it was something I thought it might have. He just, okay. All right, I went in a totally different direction with my assumption of what other people might think.
like that, it's not much different from breaking wind, because I do end up talking out of my arse. I'll be honest, this one doesn't come up very often, but the first time that it did, I had to do a little bit of a double take. Put your John Hancock here, said a man holding out an important-looking form. Your John...
That does sound kind of dirty if you don't know much about the little people of the American Revolution. He's going to explain to you what the John Hancock is, but, yeah.
Hancock, that sounds like a euphemism to me, friend. And I will not be putting it on this or any piece of paper. But sir, your visa depends on it. And so as I reluctantly pull down my trousers, he hands me a pen. Your John Hancock is your signature, sir. Ah, right, happy to sign it.
He does kind of sound like, if his American accent, he could be a TSA agent, he could be a Secret Service guy, he pulls that one out. It is very stereotypical Secret Service agent man. I can hear it in any video or movie ever.
You still want... Never mind. And while I definitely embellished parts of that story to move the plot along, it does raise one important question. Who on earth is John Hancock? Well, apart from being the person after whom this Chicago skyscraper was named, John Hancock was a founding father of the United States. Not only was he the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence, but his was by far the largest signature on the document.
I was there 2 days ago, which is why some of these videos are coming out at weird times or in a different order, because somebody got stranded at the airport after visiting Philadelphia. Oops.
A popular legend has it that Hancock did this deliberately so as to make his signature clearly visible to Britain's King George III. However, evidence points to this story having been invented many years later, perhaps by Monday morning quarterbacks of the day. Either way, with hindsight of my own, it does make me wonder if that immigration officer only used the term upon hearing my accent. Regardless, it still highlights how the legacy of America's founding still impacts US English today, with the phrase John Hancock a direct link to the country's independence from the British. One item that bears my John Hancock is my debit card. And...
okay, we're doing a little ad. I just think it's fun. It's like, I don't think I had remembered the story about he did it to make sure that the King of England could read it, but I did hear that it was like no one was moving to go and sign it. He's like, let's get this party started, and he was the first one to sign it, and he just, no one else tried to sign it that big. You see, it is the biggest signature on that piece of paper.
As a YouTube sensation who regularly hits the road, I'm always looking for ways to save on gas. During our recent trip to view the eclipse, I used the Upside app, which helped me discover cashback offers in the local area for not just gas, but restaurants and groceries. After pulling into a British Petroleum, that's BP, in Walcott, Indiana, I opened up the app and what do you know? I could get 34 cents a gallon back once I hit claim. This amounted to a total of $3.57 in cash back. And over time, it all adds up. Frequent Upside users earn roughly $340 in cashback a year, which is quite a lot when you consider that the app is completely free. Upside is available at over 100,000 locations in all 50 states, including at other eligible gas stations like Shell, Chevron, and ExxonMobil. Basically, Upside makes money from brands by sending customers their way and then shares some of that money with you. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code, find an offer near you, and fill up your gas tank using the Upside app to receive your $10 gift card.
I love that he explained how the free app makes its money. Because so many times, like, you'll get an ad like this and it sounds great, and then you go and it turns out that the free app isn't free. You know, it is a subscription, or like, you know, it's got a suggested donation, but the suggested donation cannot be $0. Sometimes it can't be less than $5. So it's like, I like that he does explain how the app makes money. Even after my brain was sent into a trance by the endless stream of soy fields, I was still able to navigate the Upside app with ease. Install Upside today to take advantage of this limited time offer. The link is in my description below. And Bye,
signing
Felicia.
those forms ultimately meant that I was able to legally work in the United States. It was while working in a call center in 2015 that I remember hearing this entry for...
I don't remember what movie it was that this phrase originated from, but I do remember that it was everywhere.
the first time. I vividly remember sitting opposite somebody who used to sign off all of his calls by saying, "Bye, Felicia." And for the longest time, I didn't know why he was doing that or why every one of his customers was called Felicia. But I do know this, he didn't seem especially pleased. And then as time went on, I kept hearing other people use it. "Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia." Except it was never as polite as that. And with good reason,
No.
because it turns out this is a phrase that one says when one is done with a conversation, meaning that's it, it's over, conversation done. And for fans of trivia, the phrase seems to have originated in the 1995 film Fridays.
Thank you for telling. I was like, what is it? Because I know it was like an older movie. I knew it was an older movie that for some reason in the 2010s went everywhere. I feel like when I was in college is where I really started hearing it.
Starring Ice Cube.
Bye, Felicia.
And as Mr. Cube himself put it, "Bye, Felicia" is the phrase to get anyone out of your face. You hear that, Max? Say that to your wife next time you see her. His wife is called Felicia. Ever so occasionally, I receive comments in the comments section from commenters saying things like this: "Lawrence, your channel is hilarious." I don't know, I'm doing jazz hands. "And I am as funny as all get out." Well, I don't know what it means. Other than, "I am funny to the highest conceivable degree," which a lot
Fair.
of people will debate, including my mum. But that's what it means. When you are something as all get out, you are really beloved for that thing, unless that thing is stealing, because most people frown upon that.
You know what? I have said blank is all get out before. But now I'm like, you know what? You're right. That's weird grammatically. And I do not know where it originates.
Even if you're really good at it.
What do you steal?
Not me. I've never stolen anything in my life, except some chewing gum when I was 6. Over the years, many people who
He didn't tell me. If you know where all get out comes from, tell me.
follow this channel have brought to my attention a phrase that has the opposite meaning on either side of the pond. To table an item. Now, this might not be one that rolls off the tongue of most people, but it is a
Table.
phrase that's used quite commonly in political circles. In Britain,
Okay, so to table it, my understanding of to table something is you're putting it away for later. Like, it's like, all right, let's just table that. It's the same as like, let's put a pin in it. We'll circle back.
if a group of politicians table a piece of legislation, that means that piece of legislation is on the table for them to discuss. In America, it's the exact opposite. When they
Yeah.
table that legislation here, it means that they discard it. forget about it. Stop talking about it. In other words, suspend one's consideration of that thing. So when I, a British-born American, say, hey Max, why don't we table my research on 17-year cicadas? He thinks that I don't want to make that video, when of course I do. That video will be coming soon, so stay tuned.
Yeah, also stay tuned for like the shrieking eel cicada noises that are almost certainly going to encroach themselves into videos in the near future. It's gonna be so loud.
And finally, plead the fifth, and I suspect that some of my American viewers might be watching this going, uh-oh, Lawrence, did you get in trouble with the law? And the answer is, no, definitely not. And anyway, that was 12 years ago. But I've encountered the phrase plead the fifth every now and again in, say, newspapers or just overhearing it in conversation at the bus stop. You do hear some crazy things, but I think due to the way people were using it, I understand.
There's always somebody on the bus. There's always somebody on the bus that is just, that everyone's like, You cannot be on a bus in Chicago without there being one person who either is already there or gets on shortly after you do. Always one.
Understood it to be a legal term, but I just didn't know what the fifth was. What is this fifth that everyone keeps talking about? You know, was it the Fifth Day or Fifth Avenue or Five Guys? I was just trying to get my head around America and the way it uses numbers. And it turns out that just like a lot of words and phrases in American English, this one pertains to the US Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. And the Fifth Amendment guarantees the right to a grand jury, forbids double jeopardy, and protects against self-incrimination. And as far as I understand it, it's largely that last part that people are referencing when they say, plead the fifth. In other words, to plead the fifth means to refuse to answer a question because the response could provide self-incriminating evidence of an illegal act. So really, it's the exact opposite of what I did earlier when I said this. I've never stolen anything in my life, except some chewing gum when I was 6. So it seems that my only way to get out of this is to pretend that I was joking, because after all, I am funny as all get out.
Okay. I will say, does not matter if you are, being questioned by the cops. Do not answer anything. Don't give them a freaking crumb. It doesn't matter if you did a thing or not. People will try and tell you that it makes you seem guilty if you don't cooperate with them. Do not tell them anything. Because they even warn you, if you read your Miranda rights, that anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. They will. Have you ever seen the movie My Cousin Vinny? Because they do it in that movie where the guy's trying to cooperate with the cops. So the cop tells him, it's the rundown of events. He's like, and then you shot the clerk. And the guy goes, I shot the clerk. And it's really obvious it's a question. But then later in the trial, the cop reads out the transcript of what happened. And then he said, I shot the clerk. And it's don't. So, okay, that is just a thing that if you do get taken in for questioning ever, don't say anything without a lawyer present. Not a single word. They can't hold you for that long if they don't have an arrest warrant out for you. And they don't say, do not talk to them. If the cops are trying to ask you questions, don't say. They will tell you that things will be worse for you if you don't cooperate. This is a lie. They are allowed to lie to you. Just, shh. Don't say anything.
If I've learned anything from this video and from living in both Britain and America extensively, it is that both countries have lots of sayings. And since moving to America, I've even picked some up. The other day, I caught myself using the phrase such and such is a dime a dozen. In other words, there are so many of this thing that it is irrelevant. That said, my videos, though there are quite a lot of them, are very relevant. They are. Especially this one, which is called 4 Ways American English is Pretty Weird. Oh. You are going to watch that video now. And remember, click the link in my description to try the Upside app today. Until the next video, goodbye.
Bye. That was fun. Again, this is just... You can ignore my rant about police if you so desire. That's fun. Just saying. You shouldn't tell them anything. But it's sometimes easier said than done. Just saying. That's things I've heard. Anyway, I don't know. Like, what are some sayings? If you are not American, what are some sayings that Americans tend to be totally floored by when they go to your country? Things that are very, very unique to where you live. Or if you're American, what are some sayings that are really unique to your location? Because there are definitely phrases that are incredibly regional that I would have never heard of. I mean, I maybe would I know stuff from like East Coast things, and I know stuff from Midwest, and that's kind of where my thing is. But like, for instance, my mom grew up in like the Northeast, and so she would say hoagies. And I did not grow up. I grew up in Baltimore, as I'm sure I've mentioned before. We called them subs, like a sub sandwich. So I had never heard of hoagie, and like Pennsylvania and Maryland, very close. Never heard of a hoagie. And that was just two like adjoining states that like had really that's a different word for the same sandwich. So just go ahead. I'm curious. Go ahead and let me know some weird ones in the comments below, and I will let you know if I've heard of that one. So thanks again for watching. Let me know what I should react to next. If I should do that cicada video when Lawrence puts it out, or the words Americans pronounce weird. I'll do that one too. If it's not a Lawrence video, let me know what I should watch, and I will see you in the next one.